Hello and welcome to Nomifactory. Today I want to get some auto crafting up and running and also some chlorine production. The chlorine we will get by pumping up saltwater and then electrolyzing it into hydrogen and chlorine. This is what I'll be working on and I hope you enjoy. I did a little bit of work between episodes. The most important thing being putting a storage bus on this drawer controller here so that we have access to all these resources. I also crafted up some interfaces and some assemblers which we will use to autocraft, and we also need to craft up some crafting units, but to be able to do that we need more circuits, so I will be working a little bit on that. I also want to work on getting towards better circuit boards here, these plastic ones, which can give us even cheaper recipes for circuits. Let's see, we don't have system on chips, but these one here, we should be able to get microprocessors and other recipes which are just way better. MV circuits we will be able to craft up without having LV circuits. We also want to work on a high voltage macerator, as it can give some second chance outputs that are very useful, like manganese from Saltwater and chrome dust from ruby ore. First we need a bending machine at medium voltage to make double plated steel plates. That's a circuit of 2. This means that we can craft up the blade here for the macerator. We can craft up the hull here. And finally the macerator. I will set it up like all the other machines I've done. And I will throw in some ruby ore and let that run. It takes a while. I think I will throw in 2 stacks. We have quite a bit of Nomi coins. I'll throw some pyrolusite ore in the macerator as well, so that we will get some manganese. And the ruby ore we can crush again for even more chrome. To craft up the fluid wick, we will need some vanadium steel gears, which are most easily made in an MV extruder here. This should be able to make up some gears here. This also makes small gears for pistons way cheaper, as I think they only require 1 bar instead of 2. Yeah, 1 ingot here instead of 2. We need some ender chests to transport diamonds so that we can power it with a numismatic dynamo, which I am also in the process of crafting up. I have some vibrant gears here. What are we missing? Missing this excitation coil here. And more red alloy plates. Just a couple, I think. And this is the numismatic dynamo. We also need some, let's see here. We need some upgrade kits as well. So we will need some invar gears. And with the new extruder, we only need 16 bars instead of, well, it's the same recipes, same amount of bars, but it's a little easier to craft up. We have the hardened kit here and the reinforced kit. We also need some ender tanks to transport the we are missing string now. Now all we need is the fluid wick, but for that we need more circuits. The first thing I'll set up is the ender chest with diamonds. We will put in a limited item filter here for 64 diamonds, because we don't want it to fill it completely up, that's a waste. So 64 here. And insert on blue. This should fill up with diamonds. Yeah. And stop at 64. It does. Nice. And since it's water, this will be all blue. In this chest here, I've prepared enough dusts for making up 9 stacks of stainless steel, which will help us progress towards a lot more high voltage machines and a distillation tower, which we will need for petrochemistry at one point. But that's not this episode, that's a lot longer, but it's nice to prepare it, at least prepare the materials, because this takes a long time to smelt up in the blast furnace as well. From the macerated ruby we can also electrolyze it here. I think it needs to be a medium voltage electrolyzer actually. Here. I yet again have made up enough to make 9 more stacks of stainless steel dust. I will probably let this run overnight so that we can craft it all up and also smelt up a lot of it. We have enough for 18 stacks of stainless steel, which I'm not sure will be enough, but it's a good start. And I'll probably let the world running overnight so that we will be able to smelt up a lot of it. Here we go, that's 2 stacks of LVT circuits. I'm working on making at least enough components to make one of these stacks into medium voltage circuits. Maybe both of them, I'm not sure yet. We also need to make some of them into high voltage circuits so that we can craft up the patterns needed for auto crafting. This here should be enough for a stack of medium voltage circuits. The circuits finished crafting up, so we'll use the first 4 here for the fluid rig. And it will take 20 seconds to craft. Here we go. Last time I played Nomifactory I had to search quite far for a saltwater rain, but this playthrough we have run right by our spawn here and manual rubber tree farm. I built up the structure here. I just used an ULV output hatch. And what else did we do here? I'm using 2 LV energy hatches I had from the blast furnace when we changed those out. This means this will run MV, which is alright. You can run it either MV or HV, but I didn't feel like crafting up another couple of energy hatches there. It will need some power. I'll just use this numismatic dynamo here and upgrade it. Then we have this ender chest, which we filled with diamonds on this channel here. We will just extract them. And I think this should spring to life. It does. And we are getting salt water. Nice. We will extract this into a ender tank on this channel here. And this should be salt water. Now we just need to electrolyze it somewhere. I think we'll just electrolyze the salt water at MV, since we are not yet rich enough to do a whole lot on HV. we'll just use the line where we are making polyethylene here, since we will also need the chlorine for some polyvinyl chloride production right here. I'm crafting up the first couple of super tanks here to store the fluids. For the chlorine and the hydrogen here, I made a couple of fluid storage buses, which we will partition and make bidirectional, that's fine, and we will set it to the highest of priority because we want this to be our main storage for the moment, and then make sure to connect them up. Then if we had a fluid terminal over here, we would be able to see these in the ME system, and we will be able to pull them out from fluid input or fluid interfaces to use these fluids here around the base. Now that we have chlorine, we can set up some polyvinyl chloride production, which will make some sheets that we can use to make much better circuit boards. Over here by the polyethylene production, we use half of the ethylene here. That is made very slowly, but it's still made. We use that to produce some polyvinyl chloride. I set up 2 chemical reactors here next to a saltwater electrolyzer. And in the first one we put in chlorine and ethylene, which makes it into vinyl chloride. This one here, and then we pump it into the next chemical reactor and mix it with oxygen, which makes it into polyvinyl chloride, and as a byproduct we get hydrochloric acid, which we can use to make this iron 3 chloride here, which is needed for circuit production. We'll put a fluid storage bus on this polyvinyl chloride drum here, set the priority to 1000, partition it, and then connect it to the network. I need some more cable here. Then we should be able to see this PVC in the network. We will solidify it probably over in this quadrant here. I'll start another MV line here with some machines and probably also the circuit production, the iron 3 chloride production, and the circuit board, plastic circuit board production there. We also need access to the sulfuric acid here, so I'll also put a fluid storage bus on this. Partition it and 1000 priority. I've made another medium voltage line over here with power connections and applied energistic connection. And the first thing I want to do is to make copper foil, which is just copper ingots bended twice. I will extend the applied energistic connection here and probably place an interface in the middle of the line here. Oh, not like that. Like this. And then we will connect an item conduit over to the first one here, where we will filter copper ingots, and we will, there in the insert, and we will insert on blue. Then we should be able to pull copper ingots from our applied energistic system. And it should throw it in here if we extract on blue. We do, and then we do it on a 1, circuit of 1. And these we don't need, I don't think, to stock up. So we will just throw them directly into the next bending machine, which will make them into foil. I place some drawers above the line here. And we want to store the copper foil in one of them. I think we will downgrade it and then maybe store 4 stacks. Then we will insert it here. We will, I think, extract from here on purple. And insert in the drawer here on purple. Then this should fill up to 4 stacks. And we can just extract from the ME system once we have a storage drawer on this. This is so that we make sure that it will always round robin, because interfaces round robins. For the iron 3 chloride production, we will need some iron dust, which is just iron in a macerator. And I obviously called for it in the ME interface. And I insert it here in the macerator. I give it a draw and downgrade it. Maybe give it an iron upgrade as well. The iron 3 chloride process here contains its hydrogen, which means it you get as much hydrogen out of the recipe as you put in. So the only real loss here is the chlorine. So we will prime it with some hydrochloric acid, which we got from the PVC line over there. And then we should only need to put in some chlorine to keep it going. I set up a couple of chemical reactors here. One of them will make us hydrochloric acid with the chlorine and hydrogen. And the other one here I've filtered iron dust into. And we will just need to prime it with some hydrochloric acid here to get the process going. I'll mute these. Once we have a couple of buckets of iron 3 chloride here and enough hydrogen to cycle, I will just pull out this hydrochloric acid again. This should be enough. In the other chemical reactor here, we will filter hydrogen and chlorine. The chlorine we will get from the fluid interface, where we will extract on blue. Let's see here, blue. And insert on blue. So this should be getting chlorine, it is. If we extract from the fluid here on blue as well, we should be getting hydrogen. Nice. This hydrochloric acid we should be able to just extract directly into the other chemical reactor here. So this keeps going. And the hydrogen here should just cycle through this process here, and we should be getting iron 3 chloride out here. The iron 3 chloride we will filter into this barrel here, so we have a buffer. And this is filling up, nice. I make sure to put a fluid storage bus on this. We will need a fluid solidifier here to make the PVC boards. We filter the polyvinyl chloride here and make sure to do the same in the interface. We can insert on blue. This makes us PVC sheets. We need these for thin polyvinyl sheets as well, so I'll just make a drawer with a few of them in, so that we can make those on demand. We'll just buffer a stack. These go into a chemical reactor together with some copper foil and some sulfuric acid. I made some limited item filters to make sure that we don't overflow on copper foil in one of those spots here, so that only 64 will be able to go in. We use the limited item filter like this. I just do 8 and 32. I don't need to to buffer too many items in here when it's not needed. And as you can see, this buffers the specified amount of items in the chemical reactor like this. Now we only need sulfuric acid in here. We transfer some sulfuric acid through the fluid interface here and filter it in this chemical reactor here. And this also is insert on blue. And this should make us the boards here. Yeah, it does. We can actually just R2 input them like this into the next chemical reactor because we are not going to use them for anything other than circuit boards right now. Together with some more iron 3 chloride here and some more copper foil, which we will insert like so. Copper foil. Oh, never mind. These will also overflow, so I'll need to use a limited item filter here as well. I'll just do that. We set up the limited item filter here so that it doesn't overflow. The other method would have been alright if we used a item, like a robot arm, to move the items like we did with the pulsating polymer clay, but the machine auto output will just overflow it, and that doesn't work. This inserts the copper foil in the chemical reactor. All we need to do is extract the iron 3 chloride, and this should be making us plastic circuit boards. And there we go. This is our first plastic circuit board, which should be a quest. It is. These we will obviously buffer. I think we will start with, let's say, 4 stacks. We don't want to use all our resources on them, but we also want quite a few of them, so we'll buffer that many. And make sure to extract them here on purple. There we go. That was not so bad. It just took a lot of different processes, but this should be automated plastic circuit boards, which should give us way cheaper circuits. In the medium voltage circuits assembler here, we can start making these microprocessors, which is one of the cheapest ways of making LV circuits. Let's see here. Until we get system on chips, at least, this is the easiest way. It makes 3 per 1 recipe. We do need transistors and these CPUs here, but we should be able to do that. It's just an interpole lens, which is pretty easy to craft up. Whilst doing all these processes, I make sure to mix up more stainless steel and obviously cook it up in the blast furnace. At this point in time, this is probably a bit of an overkill, but I would rather have more stainless steel than I need than not have enough. With the interpole lens here, we should be able to craft up some CPU wafers, which we will be using in the next episode to craft up a lot of circuits. We didn't get to do the R2 crafting that I wanted this episode. We unfortunately ran out of time, but we did get to make up the chlorine system that I wanted, where we pump up some salt water out of the ground in the overworld and then electrolyze it to hydrogen and chlorine, and this sodium hydroxide dust, which we will use later down the line. We also set up PVC production and started automating using these interfaces and storage buses. We also crafted up a lot of stainless steel, which we will use in the coming episodes, and we are still crafting up a bunch more, which we can transfer here. We also set up the circuit board production, which will make our lives much easier. It makes circuits a lot cheaper again, and it is also automated now, so we don't need to use a lot of silver for the good circuit boards, and wood planks and copper foil for the first tier of circuit boards, we can just let this work on its own, and then we get a steady supply of these plastic circuit boards, which also gives a better recipe on all of the circuits. But I think that's what I had for you today in this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. We got a lot of progress done in this episode, albeit not everything I wanted. I hope you have a nice day, and that I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.